You've been doing everything right. Waking up early, skipping the foods you love, dragging yourself to the gym when every part of your body is begging you to stay in bed. You're sweating, you're grinding, you're suffering through meals that taste like cardboard and guilt. Weeks go by and finally, the scale moves. You've lost weight. You feel a rush of pride, walk over to the mirror expecting to see something incredible, and then your stomach drops. You look worse. Not just the same, actually worse. Softer, flatter, smaller in all the wrong ways, like someone let the air out of you. And you stand there completely confused, wondering what went wrong when you did everything you were supposed to do. Here's what nobody told you. Losing weight and losing fat are two completely different things. And if you don't understand that difference, you will keep spinning your wheels, keep losing the wrong thing, and keep staring at that mirror feeling defeated. So right now, in this video, we are going to fix that. No magic formulas, no gimmicks, no nonsense, just the real science behind how your body actually burns fat and exactly what you need to do to make it happen. Let's start with the most important thing you need to understand before any of this makes sense. Your body does not want to lose fat. That's not pessimism, that's biology. Your body has been designed over millions of years to survive, and fat is its most valuable emergency resource. It's stored energy, backup fuel for when things go wrong. So when you start trying to burn it off, your body treats that like a threat. It resists, it fights back. It looks for every possible way to hold on to those fat stores while cutting costs elsewhere. And one of the first costs it looks to cut is muscle, because muscle is expensive to maintain. It burns calories just by existing, which is the last thing a survival-focused body wants when it thinks resources are scarce. So the only way to force your body to actually dip into those fat reserves is to eat less than you burn, what's known as a calorie deficit. When not enough energy is coming in from food, your body has no choice but to break down stored fat and convert it into usable fuel. Most of that fat actually leaves your body as carbon dioxide when you breathe out, and the rest exits as water through sweat and other fluids. So when you're pushing hard in a workout and you're breathing heavily, that's not just effort, that's literally fat leaving your body. But here's where most people destroy their own progress without even realizing it. They hear calorie deficit and they immediately go to the extreme. They slash their calories in half, start eating almost nothing, and expect the results to come faster. And at first, it seems to work. The scale drops quickly and they think they're on the right track. But what's actually happening under the surface is a disaster. Their body, sensing extreme deprivation, panics and enters full survival mode. It cranks up the process of breaking down muscle tissue because muscle burns calories, and right now the body is trying to cut every unnecessary expense. So the weight loss on the scale isn't coming from fat, it's coming from muscle, water, and tissue your body decided it couldn't afford to keep. You end up lighter but softer, smaller but not leaner, and the shape you spent months building quietly disappears. The fix isn't complicated, but it requires patience. You need to be in a moderate deficit, just enough to force fat loss without triggering that survival panic. Not so aggressive that your body starts tearing itself apart to compensate. Now here's a question that starts more arguments in the fitness world than almost anything else. What burns fat faster, cardio or lifting weights? And the honest answer is that this debate misses the point entirely, because neither of them is burning fat the way most people imagine. Both of them are simply tools to help you burn calories, and burning more calories is what keeps you in that deficit. That's it. There's no magic fat-burning mode that one activates and the other doesn't. But they do work in very different ways, and understanding that difference is what separates people who get results from people who stay stuck. When you do cardio, your body needs energy fast, so it reaches for glucose first because glucose is quick and accessible. Fat burns slower. But here's the interesting part. After your cardio session ends, your body enters recovery mode, and this is where the real fat burning kicks in. Your body starts pulling heavily from fat stores to repair and restore everything that was used during the workout. This is the afterburn effect, and it continues for hours after you've already finished exercising. So that run you did in the morning is still burning fat while you're sitting at your desk in the afternoon. Weightlifting works completely differently, and most people completely underestimate what it actually does for fat loss. When you lift weights, you're not primarily burning fat during the session. What you're doing is something far more important. You're sending a signal to your body that says your muscles are necessary, they're being used, so don't touch them. Remember what we said earlier about your body looking for things to cut during a calorie deficit? Muscle is always on that list, unless you're actively proving that you need it. Every time you lift, you're making that argument. You're telling your body to preserve the muscle and burn the fat instead. And there's a long-term bonus here too. The more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you burn every single day, even when you're doing absolutely nothing. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it requires energy just to exist. So building and maintaining muscle is like upgrading your body's engine. It runs hotter, burns more, and makes every other effort you put in work better. That's why you need both cardio and weights, not one or the other, both. Let's talk about one of the biggest myths that has wasted more people's time and money than almost anything else in fitness. The idea that sweating more means burning more fat. You see people in the gym wrapped in plastic suits, wearing those thick neoprene waist belts, sitting in saunas after workouts hoping to sweat the fat away. And it feels logical on the surface, doesn't it? You're hot, you're dripping, you must be burning something. But sweat is simply your body's cooling system. When your muscles generate heat during exercise, your body releases water through your skin to lower your temperature and prevent you from overheating. That's all it is. It's temperature regulation, not fat loss. Yes, fat does leave your body partially as water, but that doesn't mean more sweat equals more fat burned. When you step on the scale after a brutal, sweaty session and see you've lost 2 kilograms, that's water weight. Drink a few glasses and it comes right back. Those sweat belts, those sauna suits, that money belongs in your pocket. Save it for something that actually works. Here's something almost everyone wants to know and almost nobody gets a straight answer on. Why does belly fat always show up first and leave absolutely last? Why does it feel like no matter how hard you work, that one stubborn area refuses to move? The answer comes down to genetics, blood flow, and hormones. Your body doesn't burn fat evenly across every area at the same time. It follows a pattern that's largely predetermined by your genetics and the hormonal makeup of your body. For most men, the belly and lower stomach area is where fat stores are prioritized, which means it's the first place fat goes and the last place it comes from. For most women, it's the hips, thighs, and lower belly. The reason that area is so stubborn is actually physiological. The lower belly has significantly worse blood circulation than other parts of the body, meaning the fat-burning signals that travel through the bloodstream have a harder time reaching those fat cells. The fat is there, the signal exists, but the delivery is slow. The only real solution is patience, consistency, and full-body fat loss over time. You cannot pick which area burns fat through targeted exercises. You can build muscle in a specific area, but the fat sitting on top of it will only come off when your overall body fat decreases. There are no shortcuts around this, but there are ways to speed up the process, and we'll get to that. One of the most common questions people ask is whether training on an empty stomach burns more fat. And the honest answer is technically yes, but the difference is much smaller than the internet would have you believe. When you train fasted, your glycogen stores are lower, so your body does rely a little more on fat for fuel. But the gap between fasted and fed training is so small that it won't transform your results on its own. What actually determines your fat loss over time is your calorie deficit and how consistently you maintain it, period. If training fasted makes you feel sharp, energized, and focused, then do it. But if training on an empty stomach leaves you feeling weak, shaky, and performing at half your capability, you're doing more harm than good. A worse workout means less intensity, less muscle stimulus, and less overall calorie burn. So eat something light if you need to. A banana, a few dates, a spoonful of honey, something that digests fast and gives your body just enough fuel to perform without weighing you down. Because the quality of your workout matters. Every rep you push through on a good session is protecting your muscle and building your physique. Now let's talk about food, because this is where most people make their biggest, most self-sabotaging mistakes. They hear about meal timing, carb cycling, ketogenic diets, intermittent fasting, and they get completely overwhelmed trying to figure out which one is the right system. And while they're paralyzed trying to decide, they're not actually doing anything. So let's cut through all of that and get to what actually works. The most important rule is a moderate calorie deficit, not starvation, not rabbit food, not eliminating entire food groups, just eating slightly less than you burn, which often just means smaller portions, fewer mindless snacks, and being more intentional about what goes in. Second, you must prioritize protein. Eggs, chicken, fish, Greek yogurt, lean meat. Protein does three critical things. It keeps you feeling full longer, it protects your muscle from being broken down, and it costs your body more energy to digest compared to carbs or fats. Third, eat fiber, vegetables, fruits, whole foods. Fiber fills your stomach with volume without packing in calories, which means you can eat a satisfying amount of food without constantly being in a battle with your willpower. Drink 3 to 4 liters of water daily, cut out liquid calories, reduce processed food as much as possible, and sleep 7 to 8 hours.